Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Total world victory. Hare Krishna. My name is Sitapati Das.
My name is Danna Devi.
And this is Bhagavad-gita as it is. Bhagavad-gita, the Song of God, as it is by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge, text number 23. Yeah.
Ready.
You want to do the Sanskrit today?
Okay.
Go for it.
Gata-saṅgasya muktasya jñānāvasthita-cetasaḥ
Cetasaḥ.
Yajñāyācarataḥ karma samagram pravilīyate.
Yeah. This here doesn't get aspirated there.
Huh?
It's just yajñāyācarataḥ karma.
Charata. But it has like a like
H.
elongated
The only time it gets aspirated is that if it's at the end of the second or the fourth line.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Ooh. Gata-saṅgasya.
Sorry.
Gata. What is the gata?
Cat.
Yeah, that's the Spanish. Gata-saṅgasya.
Unattached to the modes of material nature.
Muktasya.
Of the liberated.
jñāna-avasthita.
Situated in transcendence.
Cetasaḥ.
Of such wisdom. Yeah.
Yajñāya.
Yajñāya.
Yeah. Okay, no, yajña.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that is the, you know, in Spanish
Mm-hmm.
and in Sanskrit is the only one that has the N and the el, ñ. And it's read as well at ña, yajña. Yeah. Wow.
But it's yajña. Yeah. For the sake of Yajña, Kṛṣṇa.
ācarataḥ.
So acting.
Karma.
Work.
Samagram.
In total.
Pravilīyate.
Merges entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Just a note that we're filling in for Isabella
Mm-hmm.
tonight. She normally does Monday nights. This here,
Mm-hmm.
gata-saṅgasya. That looks like a ma, but saṅgasya. Mukta. So where is mukta? Here, mukta. So gata-saṅgasya. I don't see how gata-saṅgasya, disarrayed, having ended, leaving aside. Okay, without attachment, saṅgasya. Saṅgasya. It's like end with a dot underneath it. It's actually not hard to read this.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that? It's pretty easy.
Lots of scribbles.
Yeah, it's just memorization of the different characters. Like this here is a ka. Ma. This is karma. Yeah, that's this here. Karma. Samagraṁ. Samagra. So this here you see is sa. That's sa. Saṅgasya. And then karma. Sa. And that there is ma.
Mm-hmm.
Gram. Right. Translation.
Good.
The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai.
Becoming fully Kṛṣṇa conscious, one is free from all dualities and thus is free from the contamination of the material modes.
Mm-mm.
He can become liberated because he knows his constitutional position in relationship with Kṛṣṇa, and thus his mind cannot be drawn from Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Consequently, whatever he does for Kṛṣṇa, who is the primeval Viṣṇu. Therefore, all his works are technically sacrifices because sacrifice involves satisfying the Supreme Person, Kṛṣṇa. The resultant reaction to all such works certainly merge into the transcendence, and one does not suffer material effects.
He added the transcendence, into the transcendence.
Transcendence.
Satisfying the Supreme Person, the Kṛṣṇa. Prabhupada would sometimes say that. It's an Indian thing. You say, the Kṛṣṇa. It is unto the Kṛṣṇa that we are giving the thing. Om jñāna-timidandasya jñānānjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai sri gurave namaha. 423. Let's have a look at the change set in here. Nothing in the Purport. Well, nothing in the translation apparently, but the problem is that this change set was done in 2009, and things have changed since then. So I haven't written my automatic scraper yet, but I'm going to. Here we go. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. It's exactly the same. Okay. And here is constitutional relationship with Kṛṣṇa semicolon changed to a comma, because sacrifice said involves satisfying the Supreme Person Kṛṣṇa now has been changed to aims at satisfying the Supreme Person Viṣṇu. Kṛṣṇa. Okay.
Involves satisfying the Supreme, aims at satisfying.
Yeah. 423. Let's have a look at the justification. What's that change in total?
Oh, fine.
In total? In total. I mean, okay, whatever. Of such wisdom, change to whose wisdom? Cetasaḥ.
Why do they do it again and they cross it off in total and add it in total?
Yeah, it looks like maybe something got whited there. Gata-saṅgasya, of one unattached to the modes of material nature. Yeah, I can see that. But what did Srila Prabhupada say?
Oh dear.
21, 22, 23. Here we go. Something got racked on here. He had unattached to the modes of material nature, not of one. Of such wisdom. Cetasaḥ, whose wisdom? Of such wisdom. So, I mean, they've gone in here and without authorization,
Again?
yeah, just like made it better than the original author's work. It's not closer to the manuscript. It's like, we can now do better than Srila Prabhupada. Like they're not just correcting Hayagriva's editing, because they sometimes roll out these ad hominem attacks on Hayagriva and then say, well, we're fixing the mistakes. But now they're correcting Srila Prabhupada's original manuscript. Like, we're better than Prabhupada. Now, maybe at a certain point, Sanskrit editors did that under his guidance. I'm not sure, but maybe. Entirely possible that they did that. Maybe. But they just weren't authorized to do it in this case. Yeah, I'm unhappy about that. Makes me unhappy. Thank you, Amma. 23. Aims at the Supreme Person, Kṛṣṇa or Viṣṇu. Satisfy the Supreme Person.
Primeval Viṣṇu.
No, it's under.
Person, Kṛṣṇa.
Or Viṣṇu. Hayagriva went with the Supreme Person, Kṛṣṇa. And then in the second edition, in quotes, second edition, they went with the Supreme Person, Viṣṇu, Kṛṣṇa, which is not what he wrote. He wrote Kṛṣṇa or Viṣṇu.
Or Viṣṇu.
No.
Viṣṇu, Kṛṣṇa.
Okay, whatever.
Which is the same, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, well, Kṛṣṇa is the 8th incarnation of Viṣṇu, except in this particular 28th Manvantar, 7th Manu, when the original Swayam Bhagavan Kṛṣṇa comes. It's technical. That's where it gets technical.
Mm-hmm.
The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Gata-saṅgasya muktasya of the liberated, of those who are unattached to the material nature, jñāna-avasthita-cetasaḥ, jñāna-avasthita, situated in knowledge, wisdom, cetasaḥ, in the core of their heart, by their heart. Yajñāya, for the sake of yajña, ācarataḥ, he acts as a sacrifice, karma, work. Samagram, pravilīyate, the pravilīyate? Pravilīyate, systematically vanquished or merges entirely. Interesting. Systematically vanquished, made 0. Merges entirely, made 1. So made 0, 1, everything, nothing.
Okay.
So the person who's unattached to the modes of material nature, who is liberated, situated in transcendence, acts according to that wisdom or understanding within the heart, for the sake of yajña, for the sake of sacrifice, for the sake of Kṛṣṇa. And because of that, all his work, everything, merges entirely into transcendence. So it becomes reactionless. So in this verse, Kṛṣṇa is explaining how this person acts and how the action becomes reactionless. The karma, kim akamariti, kaviyo pyatra mohita, which was earlier. Even the kavis, the wise, are bewildered in answering the questions, kim karma, kim akamariti, like what is action and what is inaction or reactionless work. Yeah. Anything you want to say about this verse?
I was just thinking, like, don't be attached. Can you go back to the
verse?
Yeah. Who is unattached to the modes of material nature. If you think about it in the personal level, when do you get unattached to the modes of material nature? Because myself, I get attached to different, mode of goodness or mode of passion. Obviously, mode of ignorance is just not my thing, but I still under the radar of material. The mode of ignorance, you see. And
Unattached
so
to the modes.
how do you get unattached to the modes of material nature?
Well,
When you are under the dictum of the 3 modes of material nature, it's like, wow, I don't know what to do, because the 3 modes is just like, and then you're like, oh, I can feel my mode of passion or my mode of ignorance or my mode of goodness kicking in here and there, Yeah, so
this is described in a verse. I can't remember where it is. Maybe the 13th chapter. I just remember it because Rajadam brought it to me. We were discussing it, and it says that one who is not elated in the presence of, nor despondent in their absence. Let's use the 2nd edition search, because that one is, in my opinion, it's better than the 1st edition search, Prabhupada.io, database.io. So if we have a look for elated and despondent. Despondent in the 2nd edition, of course. Spondant in the 1st, probably. Now that's a shout out to this verse. Filtered by hierarchy, Bhagavad-gita, there's 3 of them. Okay.
elated. Okay.
This Bhagavad-gita 256.
No lo sé.
No lo sabes?
Yes.
Okay. Library. I'm going to see if I can locate it. It's in like the 13th chapter. I'm going to say it's the 13th. I'm just guessing here. Those are the vision of eternity. Those who see it. No, it's part 14. Total material, so species, material, three modes. Here we go. So that's pure, illuminating. Yep. Passion, unlimited desires and longing. Here we go. Mode of goodness conditions one to happiness. Passion conditions one to fruit of action, and ignorance covering one's knowledge binds one to madness. It's like a metal album. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. A son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Okay, we're getting there. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all of the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge, O chief of the Bharatas. When there is an increase in the mode of passion, symptoms of great attachment, fruit of activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. When there's an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested.
You know the verse where it says like
Here it is. It's here. Text 22.
Okay, go ahead.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendent, knowing that the modes alone are active. So here, this idea here, he does not hate illumination, goodness, attachment, passion, and delusion, ignorance, when they are present, or long for them when they disappear.
Okay.
So the modes are present, but this liberated person doesn't hate them when they're there, doesn't long for them when they disappear. And it echoes this verse here, 256. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, goodness, fear, ignorance, and anger, passion, is called a sage of steady mind. This vita raga bhaya krodha, this appears a bunch of times in the Gita. Search Bhagavad-gita as it is, 27, 256, 410. Okay, it's only those two places where it comes like that. 410, that's where we saw it. There was a particularly interesting change to this purport. But anyway, that's a sidestep. But you were saying something about another verse. Do you remember?
You were going a little bit up. Go up a bit up.
Yep.
You were reading like those
I didn't read these.
actions done in the mode of passion, result of misery, and action prevent the mode of ignorance. I don't know what do you read.
A large section of the Gita deals with the three modes.
Yeah.
Well, where I was reading,
that he explains it
Yeah.
at times the mode of passion takes
Yes,
over, and
this
then
one.
at other times
Yeah,
the mode
14,
of ignorance takes over.
1410.
It's kind of like it's a competition, you see.
Yes.
And then I
competition
can, if I look back, I can see that when it's active on me. I noticed that in the past, like mode of passion is just like, and then mode of goodness is just, there. And then mode of ignorance, which I avoid at all costs. And but I can see like how easy it's there, how easy it's to get in there. One of the things I can remember is like when you are going through difficulties, it's easy to get into this mode of ignorance. It's like a easy door to get there. And then stay in there, and you don't want to come out of it. It becomes kind of like a comfort zone. And then something kicks in, and then more of passion, it's just more of passion and moving and doing things. And there's many, many other things about the more of passion that keeps you up, but it keeps you, it can also get you into trouble, more of passion. Also more of ignorance, for sure.
The mode of passion, deteriorates into the mode of ignorance. It's unstable.
Yeah.
I used to always joke because, it says in various places, the pure mode, the mode of Shuddha sattva, pure goodness, uncontaminated by any tinge of passion or ignorance. I used to joke about the pure mode of passion, uncontaminated by any tinge of goodness or ignorance. It's me. In case you didn't notice.
I did. I just don't want to say it loud.
It's okay.
I waited for you to say it.
Yeah,
I can use it.
I can own that about myself. Yeah. Passion conditions one to fruitive action. It definitely impels one to action. And then the key there is to give up the attachment to the results. Even subtle, I remember in South America, I was complaining to Rajadam about how everything was so bad, this, that, and the other thing, so many different aspects. And Rajadam just goes, you weren't expecting to like, you didn't come here for sense gratification, did you?
Some.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Exactly. In other words, it was my attachment to some particular result or outcome that was the source of my suffering rather than anything else. It is what it is, you know? Should we go to the Te Reo Māori or anything
But then
else?
you have to have like some sort of like, you know, in order for you, like, let's say you have a goal in life that you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
You need the more of passion to get you in there. So you basically attach, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then, it didn't work out. I'm going to try this one. And you keep going, you see. But in a more of passion will take you into this angry mode and, you know, but you will keep pushing yourself.
Well, it depends on what happens,
It will take you into
right?
those areas.
Like, a very good example is, you love this one, is
you know.
King Chitraketu. Hang on, what's happened here? There we go. I'm trying to interlock our chairs together. King Chitraketu. So King Chitraketu, he wanted to have a son. And he got married and then they couldn't have a son. So he's like, I need to get another wife. So he got another wife. And then he still couldn't have any children. And he kept going until he had 1,000 wives. And he still couldn't have any children.
Oh, dear.
I mean, it doesn't say it in there, but I mean, I think it was probably him. 1,000 wives? Come on. Anyway, he asked the sage Angera Muni to give him the benediction of having a child. Because Angera Muni said, you know, for some reason was giving him a benediction. So Angera Muni said, yeah, I can give you this benediction of a child, but you should know that this child will be both a source of great happiness and a source of great distress. So King Chitraketu, he thought, well, you know, maybe my son will grow up to be like a layabout or something, you know? He's like, I can deal with that. Fine, okay. So Angera Muni did this yajña, and then he took a mango from the yajña and he said, gave it to him and said, you eat half and your wife eat the other half. And then you'll have a child. So he's got 1,000 wives, but only one of them obviously can eat the mango. So anyway, his favorite wife, whatever, she eats half the mango, he eats half the mango, and then she becomes pregnant and has a child.
Oh, dear.
And there's just a great celebration throughout the whole kingdom because, as you can imagine, it's like, you know, it's the whole thing, you know. Finally, there's an heir to the throne. This child is born. So the child's born, and his name is Harsha Sukha, which means like happiness and distress. Harsha Sukha. So, you know, the king's like just absolutely overjoyed, and then spending all his time with you know, the child and this wife, and the other 999 wives become jealous, envious. Jealousy is when you have something that you want to hold on to, and envy is when someone else has something that you want. That's the difference between jealousy and envy. So they become envious, and they poison the child, and the child dies.
Oh, dear.
And so there's just a huge lamentation, right? And then at that time, while they're lamenting, Narada Muni and Angera Muni come back. And then what happens is Angera Muni, through his mystic potency, has the jiva return into the body of the child who sits up. And then, you know, gives this dissertation saying how he's just a jiva soul going between different bodies. And, you know, the king is saying, oh, please come back into the body and live your life as my son. And the jiva's like, are you kidding? Like, I just finished up my karma. and you're asking me to come back and get like re-involved in the whole thing and identify myself with this body and like being your son and everything. He's like, no, thanks. I'm out of here. See you later, and drops the mic, and leaves. So then King Chitraketu achieves enlightenment out of that, because now he understands that he's not the body, and that none of these people around him are the body either. That it's just like acting like a role, So then he goes on like a tour with his wife, and they tour around the universe in like a celestial. Somehow they get their hands on some like a UAP, an unidentified aerial phenomenon, a UFO Vimana, and they travel around the universe. And then they end up just enjoying life, and then like a pleasure cruise, farewell to the material world cruise. And then they end up somehow in Mount Kailash, where Lord Shiva is giving a dissertation to sages, and he has Parvati sitting on his knee while he's doing it. And Chitraketu just thinks it's so funny that this guy is instructing all these renunciants, and he's got his wife sitting on his knee, and he's just spent all this time traveling around with his wife. So he's like, I know what this guy's all about, and he laughs at it because he thinks it's hilarious. But Parvati, Lord Shiva's wife, gets offended and then curses him to become a demon in his next life. And so he comes back as Vritrasura and fights against Lord Indra. That's a whole other story. But the point of that story is that he had a goal that he wanted to achieve, and he was very much attached to it. So it was very much in the mode of passion, like you say. That got him started, and he got into action, and then he hit a crucial point in the process where he was thwarted in achieving his goal. You see, if you just go forward and you're achieving your goal all the time, you never have to confront your attachment to it. It's only when there's some deviation between one of two things. Either you are now thwarted in your attempt to achieve the goal, or in order to achieve the goal requires you to violate religious principles. Those are the two crucial points where you have to confront what is your motivation. Otherwise, you don't have to address the question of motivation. You're just in action. It's very difficult to tell how someone is motivated until those two juxtapositions get put in front of them. What are they actually committed to? And so in this case, he got thwarted in his desire, and that the son was poisoned and died. Now, which way will he go, right? Because the mode of passion got him started. So he can go one of two ways here, into the mode of ignorance or elevated to the mode of goodness. And so the timely intervention of a sage, Angira Muni and Narada Muni, and the tattva, Atma tattva, spoken by the jiva from the body, then elevated him to the mode of goodness, knowledge, illumination. Otherwise, he would have gone into lamentation, which is the mode of ignorance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay.
It's a contemporary application as well.
Lamentation. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's natural for the
It's okay. Keep talking. We're still live with the sound. It's just the picture.
I'm not here. It's natural for the conditioned soul to
Lament.
navigate between the three. Moral nature and
they're vying for constant competition for supremacy, right?
Yeah.
In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
But the moment you are aware, you are more of like, okay, so I'm in a mode of goodness now, and a mode of passion. Once you become more aware about it, you kind of like make a move there, like, okay, I'm entering mode of passion. And why am I in the mode of passion? And just see the consequences of it, and then how you're gonna land it.
Yeah, that's like when Vrajadam said to me, "You weren't expecting to enjoy, were you?"
Of course, you were expecting that.
Of course, yeah, and that was the source of my suffering. But as soon as he identified it, it dissolved it. It's the undistinguished, inauthentic, like rather than distinguishing that, oh, okay, because if you are being something, then that something is separate from your constitutional state, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in Spanish, you get a good way to distinguish it, because you have a difference between ser and estar
Mm-hmm.
in terms of being.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be angry, and then as soon as you can identify that, oh, I'm being angry as a way of being, rather than like being angry as an undistinguished state. You know, you're just in it, and you're, as they say, under the modes or covered by the modes. But as soon as you can identify, and there are multiple stories in the Bhagavatam of people catching themselves and going, oh, okay, like Parikshit Maharaj, for example, you know, he goes and he's out hunting in the woods, and he's like lost, and he's hungry and thirsty, and he goes into that hermitage, and there's a sage sitting there, and this guy's just ignoring him. And he just becomes angry because he's being disrespected, and he's hungry and thirsty, you know? And so he gets a dead snake and puts it around the sage's neck. Says, thanks for nothing. Thanks for your hospitality. Here's a garland for you. And then rolls out, you know? And that was Shringi, Samika Rishi, and the son's name was Shringi. The son returns to the hermitage, sees the king leaving, goes inside, sees the snake around his father's neck, curses the king to die. He's another guy like fully in the mode of passion. You know, I prefer those characters than these people who are lamenting in ignorance, you know. Oh, why the leaders do this now? I'm like, go full Bhagavatam and like just curse them to die. You know, that's what causes things to happen. Anyway, it turns out, you know, the sage rocks up to the court and tells Parikshit Maharaj what happened. Like, you know, he cursed you to die and everything. And Parikshit Maharaj just, he goes again, rather than descending into the mode of ignorance or passion, staying in passion himself, he goes to the mode of goodness, and he's like, oh, well, you know, this is obviously the will of the Lord. And he dies after 7 days being bitten by Taksha, the snake bird, in order to protect Dharma and uphold Dharma in his kingdom. Like, why did he do that? Because he died in defense of Dharma, that the speaking of a Brahmana in my kingdom will be honored. We're not going to make an exception, you know, for me personally or anything like that. That's just the way that this is. And so, yeah, that was the mode of goodness. He went to the mode of goodness. But you can see he starts in the mode of passion and then kind of gets stopped, you know, but then transcends. And there's lots of examples in the Bhagavatam like that. So there's actually nothing wrong with going into the mode of passion. And then, you know, that's how all the great pastimes take place.
People mostly in more passion and goodness.
Yeah, passion going to goodness. That's the Bhagavatam. The Skanda Purana, on the other hand, is a lot of passion going to ignorance.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it's nectar. We've got a copy of it there. We can read some of that. Yeah.
When?
Tonight.
Yay.
The Haunting in Venice or whatever.
Oh, no.
We've been to see River of Freedom, and we saw and what else did we see? A Sound of Freedom.
It's quite sad.
Sound of Freedom, yeah. And, but it had like a Sherlock Holmes short, you know, a trailer for the Sherlock Holmes movie, A Haunting in Venice. That's real Skanda Purana material.
Oh, yeah. So,
mode of ignorance, tamagun.
Yeah,
Ghosts,
spirits
goblins,
and
murders,
spirits, mostly spirit and ghosts.
It, like intense attachment, like super intense attachment and darkness, you know, tamasic. That's what Skanda Purana is like. Skanda Purana is like the Bhagavatam, but it's a horror movie.
Ew.
It's like a death metal album.
I wouldn't like to experience that because, you know, in that movie, it was this, I think there was a little bit of
a murder mystery.
No, the scene where it's lots of people congregating and talking about something, and you know,
like a seance.
Yeah, it reminds me to this game called Ouija, which
accidentally in English it's called a Ouija board.
Yeah, Ouija, where myself I was participating in that. Was by curiosity actually. but I experienced what it is, being haunted by spirits.
Mhm.
And I said, nah, I will never ever play that. And I've been recommended, it's like never ever play by this, because many people get killed, suicidal, and a lot of like invasion of like this spirit. And I thought, like, how can that be possible? Because my curiosity came with this, like the board, like this kind of glass. People are putting the finger and the glass just moves. And I was like, these people are just
Moving it.
someone's like, what are they moving? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And no, we're not moving. It's like, I'm like, nah, must be something underneath. You see, like a, what do you call this?
Mhm.
Like a magnet?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And I said, why don't you just like check it out, And I did it. It was like, okay. I said, don't touch the glass. Just put your fingers there. The moment I put it like maybe a few millimeters away from the glass, I felt this energy just went like all over my arm. I was like, wow, this is weird, because there's nothing you can see there, but you can feel like energy going like this, like someone is just grabbing your hands, like, whoa. And then I continued, they were asking, they call for different spirits.
Man.
For the, some people's like, okay, my auntie died, her name is this one. Okay, let's call it, and then they call into the auntie, and then okay, so tell me what is your name, and the glass goes into the names to form, into the letters to form the name, and then when were you born, and like they gives you the name, so how did you die, and it tells you everything. And then I call into a soul that I knew, and he was in my young years. He was kind of my friend, but he wanted to pursue like a relationship, and I was such a young kid. A child, which my mom said now. He died. It was like there were some speculations there that he has been killed, like hanged. And when I went to his funeral, I can see it was a lot of scratches on his neck. And it wasn't like he committed himself. It was like somebody did that. And it was this talk about this gay guy that was into him, because he was into ladies, and this gay guy was into him, that he did that. And he was gonna say something to me. I said, I will need to tell you something, a secret. And then he says, please come at this time, and I will meet you where she is, and another girl, friend, girl, no,
Girlfriend, yeah.
not my girlfriend, but a
girlfriend.
girl, yeah,
A female
friend. That's more appropriate, because girlfriend was like, oh, people might think I'm lesbian. Anyways, and then because I was quite busy with all the stuff, family. I don't think my mom allowed me to go anywhere, and he left a letter for me because I wasn't there. And the girl who was my friend, when she said, "Oh, he left a letter for you, but I lost it," I'm like, "Okay, did you read the letter?" She says, "No, but I knew she read it. But the way how she looked, it was kind of weird." But anyways, there's a lot of things to that. And I called for that soul, and I said, "Okay," because I needed to know. And he says his name, and I asked, "How did you die?" And he says, "I've been hanged by someone." And I knew, like, okay, I don't think he wanted to kill himself. He was like a guy full of life, and then this happened. Anyways, that's how I created. And other people call, because Cusco is a place where they committed a lot of murders, the Spanish people, murder many Incas. And then they call this young girl, and this young girl is like, and they ask, "How did you die?" And the girl says, "I've been raped and killed by these people." And then the other one they call, and then he was kind of very dark spirit, really strong. The girl didn't want to go, so they have to kind of chant a mantra to let her go. So you need to go. They push her to go. She didn't want it to go. It was like you can feel the energy. The curtains was like it opened itself. Nobody was there, and the curtains just like open up. Everyone was freaking out, like, oh my gosh, it's here. She's very upset about that. What happened to her. She wanted to have justice about it. So we have to call and tell her to leave, and then there was another one. They call another man, and they ask, what happened to you? How did you die? And he also was murdered, and he was kind of like an vengeful energy, like wanted to commit like a lot of harm to people. And then that is started from the kitchen. In the kitchen, nobody was in the kitchen, and suddenly, like they where the spoons and forks are, the cardboard, and they start opening, and then the knives, you can feel like the knives, like someone is like, what is that, pilar? Sharpening. And in the kitchen, like a lot of noise, and people were just freaking out. That was horrible. And then I look in the dark, and I can see this horrible dark energy, like maybe your size, a little bit more tall and skinny, with a long hat, like like the sombrero, like mestizos.
Yeah, sombrero.
Sombrero with sombrero, like hat. Like this, with the black pants, like very mestizo, like Peruvian style, but very angry. Very angry. And they have to like pray, and they actually have to pray, because this guy, it was in like a that blood bag. What they did to me is not fair, and I want to kill someone. It was horrible, and I could feel going around people, like the energy is, it's horrible. I don't know how to explain.
Right.
And I felt it in my back. And one of guy who was the bouncer was like, bouncer people are more like, bodybuilders. He says, and I said, are you okay? And I said, no, I can feel that energy going behind me. Yeah, I know that he want to come to you. And he came, and then he hugged me from behind and says, go away from her, get away. And then he went around. So they have to pray hard. All of these people were praying hard, and me because I'm Christian. But by then, I basically, the Christianity was just like a pure of cheaters and all of that. So I was like angry at that. But anyways, it's like, God, please help me. I know I've been told not to do this, but I did out of curiosity. Please help me. I don't want these spirits. And somehow they get rid of him. When I went home, oh my gosh, it was the most excruciating moment of my life. Every place that I look, I felt this person looking at me.
Oh man.
Like looking at me, I was like, oh, the window. Like, oh my gosh, am I imagining? I don't think so. No, I'm imagining, because your mind gets afflicted by it. And I look back, and it's like someone there looking at you. What are you doing? They're just looking at you like this, watching you. Every step that you go is watching you. And I pray and I pray, and I went to bed, and I was about to sleep. And there was just like, when you enter into this deep sleep, and then I was actually, the wall was in this side. I was looking to the wall on my side. So I was leaning on my left side. And then suddenly my feet, someone sat on my feet. Where your calf is? Someone sit on my feet like this. Wait. And I was like, who is that? Because in my apartment, there was a friend, but she wasn't there. And they were partying, of course. And in the other room, she wasn't either there. It's like, who is sitting on my leg? And then more. And then next to it, I felt next to my bed, someone sat there. You can feel like someone sits next to you. You feel like the bed going down. You feel the presence of someone sitting there. It's like, and I did not want to open my eyes, because the image of someone looking at me, it was right there. And I did not want to open my eyes. And I was so scared, and I was praying, Jesus, please help me out. Please, Jesus, I'm sorry that I did this. Please help me, because I don't know what to do. and I know you can come and rescue me. I was praying.
Mm.
And then suddenly I felt something here on my arms. Like,
Oh, man.
oh, it was horrible, but I was praying and praying and praying. Please, Jesus, help me, please help me. Because I don't know who these people are, but I can feel the energy. They're right there, like attacking me.
Mm.
And then I can feel in the room a tiny little thing going, like those, what do you call this one? Is gomes?
A gnome.
Gnome. Oh my gosh, I can feel the presence of these little ones just like creeping around.
The old goblin or something.
A goblin, I don't know, but it's those tiny little ugly looking things.
Mhm.
Oh,
A gremlin.
it's like the Lord of the Rings, this thing,
Yeah, Smeagol.
the Smeagol. That is Talmado. No,
He's kind of more like a kobold. But he was like a weird kind of hobbit, right?
yeah, but not that face, but this like
A dwarf?
no, like
Kobold.
hunch and
Yeah, like a
skinny and
Or
horrible.
a kobold or a goblin, yeah.
It was horrible. And I prayed to God and I pray and I pray and I pray. I was just praying. And then I felt like an energy just like came and then like switched them off, like get out of here.
Mm.
And I felt that I was like, God, thank you, Jesus.
Mm.
And then I went and I think I told my stepfather at that time and he says, okay, we need to pray because these living entities will come and bother you again.
Mm.
And my mom as well, she was very furious about it. Like, why did you do that? Because these spirits are very evil. And especially when young,
yeah,
they will bother you. So that's my experience with that game. So talking about that movie and the mode of ignorance, like I experienced that. Never played that game.
See here it says, let's have a look. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities, and when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. There's another one which says, it's in the 6th chapter, I think. Let's have a look at the 6th chapter. Dun, dun, dun. Or maybe the 8th chapter.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, 7. This 8th chapter. Attaining the Supreme, yeah. Well, let's see if we can find it like this. Search.
Maybe it's better way.
Ghosts.
Ew.
And then look for Bhagavad-gita. So there's 9 references. It's the 9th chapter was the next one. Yeah, it's the 9th chapter where it is. 925. 1704. Let's have a look at this. Very good. 141. Okay, so 141. Dun, dun, dun. Let's find it on this page like this. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross material body and are forced to remain in subtle bodies as ghosts. Thus, when remnants of prasadam food are offered to forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. In his Sangha Q&A, Swami Bhaktivedanta Tripurari, way back, he got a question, he answered, and it was like, what can be done to help a family member who's become a ghost? And Swami Tripurari said, you become very dear to Lord Kṛṣṇa, and then whoever you think about favorably, Lord Kṛṣṇa will be favorable to them. That's the best way you can help a family member who's become a ghost. Those who worship, this is the 9th chapter, those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And they are called the Bhuta Ija.
The Buddhas, yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm.
Bhuta Ijya, the worshippers of the ghosts and the spirits. The Bhuta bodies of living entities. The leaders of the ghosts, such as Bhairava, Bhutanath. Bhutanath is the name of Lord Shiva.
Mm.
And the Skanda Purana glorifies Lord Shiva. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons, like Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab.
Mm.
And those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits.
Probably they're doing that too.
Here it is here. This is look, he gets a shout out. Similarly, those who are in the mode of passion worship the demons. We recall that during the Second World War, a man in Calcutta worshipped Hitler because thanks to that war, he had amassed a large amount of wealth by dealing in the black market. Srila Prabhupada gives a shout out to Hitler in his Bhagavad-gita as it is commentary. Roosevelt and Churchill get no such mention. There we go. Let's go back to the verse, hey?
Yeah.
Gata-saṅgasya muktasya jñānāvasthita-cetasaḥ yajñāyācarataḥ karma samagram pravilīyate.
The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence.
Oh, you know what we haven't done? We haven't done it in today. We're on 423.
No.
Here we go. We got kind of like super into different leelas and we went into the Skanda Purana.
And then, yeah, here, you know, those who worship the ancestors go back to the ancestors. And I can see the Maori are very into the ancestors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're kind of quite Vedic in that sense.
Yeah.
They're closer to the Vedic understanding.
Yeah.
Okay. The work of the person did not adhere to the directions of the world of education, and in the transfer education all are combined to transfer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No good translation, but anyway.
For the sake of saying the words, ko te mahi, you say this one.
Ko te mahi ate tangata kaore. Tangata kaore I wai piriki naga aronga o te ao.
It's na.
Yeah.
Not naga.
Yeah.
Na.
Oh, na aronga o te ao matu uranga kei roto I te mata uranga whakawhiti.
This is ma tauranga.
Ma tauranga whakawhiti ka waka kotahi katoa ki te kakawhiti.
Whakawhiti.
Whakawhiti.
Waka kotahi. Kotahi, isn't this waka kotahi is like the Ministry of Transport? Waka kotahi.
Waka.
But waka kotahi is something else.
Okay.
Let's see what waka kotahi means. To unite or to centralize or to standardize or to unify. Waka kotahi. So, yeah, kotahi tanga.
Let's go waka kotahi.
Kotahi tanga means like unity. Kotahi means together. Kotahi tanga means kind of like togetherness or unity. And whaka is causative. So whaka kotahi means to centralize, to standardize. Whaka kotahi. Katoa, everything. Whakawhiti, follower, transfer, convey, exchange, intersect, interchangeable. Matauranga means like intelligence, knowledge.
Education.
Matauranga. The world?
Ao.
Pretty sure te ao means like the world. Yeah, the world.
Ao means world.
Oh, yeah, the world.
Te.
Te ao.
Matauranga, material nature.
What? Materialistic knowledge. Matauranga means like knowledge. Te ao matauranga means material, because it's intelligence or knowledge. Te ao connected with the world. Aronga, modes or tendencies. I don't know about that. On a previous stream, I said I would ring Edward Moses, and I rang him tonight. He's going to see if he can hook us up with someone who can help us with this. And also, we're going to have him on for our other podcast, our new podcast that we're starting when I get back from the United States.
What's the podcast?
On our voices.
Oh yes, we
Yeah.
do.
But what we should hang on, let's ask.
I need to get in touch with him then.
Right,
I have
right,
someone that's
right.
he wrote a lot of books.
Okay.
Yeah. In the community. Voices of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it could be reo o te hapuri,
Mm.
right? Or let's put it in here.
What about for now voices?
Well,
Okay, look at it.
hang on.
For now voices.
Oh no.
No. No. What is the family? No.
Korero.
Voices.
Well, you know, speak, address, talk.
Mm.
Korero means like
Yeah, correct is to discussion. But what we need is voices.
okay, well, voices. Well, reo,
Voices of the people.
well,
Or is it, can you do like voices of the people?
hang on. Let's have a look in here. My yeah, you do that. I'm gonna look in here.
How do you do this? Oh no, it doesn't allow me. But if I want to. English to Maori, okay?
Yep, it says voices reo or waha.
Waha,
Reo.
waha.
Yeah.
Wait, of the
Yeah,
people. Oh my gosh, your thingy. Thank you.
Reo te iwi. Yeah.
Mm,
But what about if we did reo o te tangata? Hang on. Okay, no. What about if we say waha?
let's go talk about human mouth. Waha.
What about that?
Mouth of the people. No. Mouth is talks more about like the physical thing.
No.
Whatever is discussion, speech of the people.
Yeah.
But it's voices of the people.
Yeah,
voices.
but okay, voices is like you got.
Okay,
but,
how about people's voices?
hang on. No, amor. Try to understand this. I know, but try to understand. See, look, reo means like language or voice. Okay, so there's different. So reo means like korero, right? Speaking. Korero.
Mhm.
Reo is voice and language, speech, language, right? Waha is like speech, but in the sense of like physical speech, mouth,
Yeah,
voice.
We're not talking about the
But
mouth.
you see, this is voice,
Mhm.
right? Voice. But I use my voice to speak words that have semantic meaning. And that is the sense here.
Language, no. I guess I have to talk to the people there first.
Yeah, well, look, it means language, but you see also here, voice. It means voice. Speech. But then also korero.
Oh, the other one.
Speak, address, comment, relate, talk, tell, narration.
Okay, let's talk about it.
The iwi, the people. Kind of like the community. Iwi, the country, the folk, the nation, race, tribe. Korero. Reo te iwi. I think this one here, reo te iwi. That there is. But it's used like te reo, the language. This here, waha o te iwi. That's the closest, I think.
Okay, we will think about it. Not now.
Okay.
Thank
We can seek advice, expert opinions.
Exactly.
Okay, so there we go. There's your Te Reo lesson for today. Te Reo Māori. And we read the verse to finish, so we're going to leave it there. Param Vijayate Sri Kṛṣṇa Sankirtanam.
Hare Krishna.
Total world victory. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna.